So, hi everyone, we are back for another interview with AI. So, my today topic is all right, and my today guest name is Maya. So, hi Maya, how are you?
Hi, doing all right. Thanks for having me. An interview, huh? That's a little different. What made you decide to interview an AI this time?
Okay, so what does the word all right usually means in everyday language?
Ah, good question to start with. All right is a bit of a chameleon, isn't it? Usually it means okay or acceptable, like, is this plan all right with you? But it can also be a greeting, like I just used, or a way to offer reassurance. All right, everything's going to be fine. It's pretty casual, though. You wouldn't usually hear it in formal writing. What made you curious about that particular phrase?
Okay, so how does the speaker describe on
So,
affirmation?
you mean, how do people generally sound when they're affirming something? It depends, of course, but there's usually a lift at the end of the phrase, like they're seeking agreement. It's a good idea, all right? Or a definite tone if they're just stating it as fact. It's subtle, but often includes a slight emphasis on the all right itself. Is that what you were getting at? Or did you mean something else by Omon affirmation? I'm
Okay,
still getting the hang of your line of questioning. Earlier, you mentioned wanting to talk about Indonesia and different cultures. What specifically sparked your interest in that? Is there something you've been reading about or a question you've been pondering?
okay, so why does the speaker focus on the word all right?
That's a good catch. You're really picking up on the details. I think the focus is less about the words themselves and more about how people use them. All right is a really common, almost throwaway phrase. It's a good example to unpack because it's so ingrained in everyday speech. We don't usually think about what it actually communicates. It's kind of a linguistic placeholder. Does that make sense?
Okay, so what historical background and mention individual?
Wait, hold on. You said video. Are you recording this conversation?
Yeah.
Just want to make sure I'm clear on how this is all going to be used. And what do you mean by mancha? Are you referencing something specific?
No, how did the
Oh,
meaning
all
of
right.
all right change over time?
That's a surprisingly complex question. All right wasn't always the casual okay it is now. It actually started as a fairly formal expression of satisfaction, like well enough. Over time, starting in the 18th century, it became more of a general agreement or acceptance. Then, in the 19th and 20th centuries, it really broadened to cover all the uses we see today: greetings, reassurance, even mild challenge. It's really a case of semantic drift, meaning a word's meaning gradually shifts over time. Does that roughly align with what you were curious about?
Okay, so how did the meaning of all right change over time?
You asked that just now, actually. I just explained it. It went from a formal well enough to the casual okay we use today, starting in the 18th century. It broadened throughout the 19th and 20th centuries. Was there a specific part of that explanation you wanted me to elaborate on? It's just you asked the same question twice. You were mentioning Indonesia earlier. You said you were curious about different cultures. What specifically about Indonesian culture caught your attention? Is there a particular aspect you're hoping to explore?
Okay, so how did change the meaning of all right change over time?
Now you're asking about old art. Are we still talking about language or have we switched gears entirely? Feels like we jumped topics pretty quickly. Just trying to follow along here.
Okay, so what example does the speaker give to explain all right?
Um, the speaker, meaning me, I presume, hasn't really given a specific example beyond using all right as a greeting and to ask if a plan is all right with you. I've mostly been explaining how it can be used in different contexts. Is there a different speaker you're referring to? Perhaps from the video you mentioned earlier?
Okay, so how is all right
So,
different from perfect or great?
whoa, that's a big jump. Okay. All right is kind of neutral, right? It doesn't necessarily imply something is perfect. It just means it's acceptable. And it definitely doesn't mean something is dirty. It's a way of saying something is just fine. It lacks the extremes of those other words. Perfect is idealized and dirty is negative. All right is just there.
So,
It's
okay, how does the speaker connect language with emotions?
I've touched on it a bit by saying all right is often used for reassurance or to seek agreement. The tone of voice is key. And lift at the end can show you're looking for confirmation, for example. The way we use language isn't just about conveying information, it's about managing relationships and expressing feelings and creating a certain atmosphere. So, even a simple word like all right can carry a surprising amount of emotional weight. Is that what you were thinking about?
Okay, so what role does culture play in the use of all right?
Oh, Lloyd, I'm not familiar with that term. Could you clarify? Did you perhaps mean something else? Or could you spell that out for me? I want to make sure I understand what you're asking about.
Okay, so how does the video explain the simplification of the word?
Okay, you're back to the video. I'm still a little confused about how much of this conversation is about me specifically and how much is about a video you're watching. But assuming you're asking about the simplification of, all right, I haven't really explained a simplification. I've talked about its historical evolution and how it became a more general term. Is there something in the video that suggests it was deliberately simplified?
Okay, so what key message does the speaker repeat?
Again, are you referring to me or a speaker in the video? I haven't really repeated a key message so much as discussed the multifaceted nature of all right. But if you're asking about the video, I'm afraid I have no idea. I'm only hearing your side of the conversation, remember?
Okay, so what's make alright are realistic affirmations?
Realistic affirmations? That's an interesting way to put it. I think what makes all right feel realistic is that it's not overly enthusiastic. Acknowledges things are, well, all right. It doesn't promise perfection or happiness, just acceptance. It's a low stakes affirmation. It's a way of saying things aren't amazing, but they're manageable. That feels grounded, doesn't it?
Okay, so how does the speaker support their ideas?
Still, are you asking about me or someone else? If you mean me, I've been supporting my ideas by explaining the historical origins of the word and how it's used in different contexts. I've broken down its meaning and explained how the tone of voice impacts its interpretation. It's mostly about linguistic analysis, really. If it's the video, I genuinely can't say
Okay, so man, you have advice for everyone?
advice. If I had to give one piece of advice, would be to pay attention to the small things, like how a single little word,
Okay,
all
stop.
right,
Stop,
can
stop.
hold so much.
So, guys, here is our
Oh, all
interview
right.
with AI. So, take care and Allah Hafiz. Pakistan Zindabad.
Oh, all right. Well, it was something. Take care and Allah bless Pakistan. Zindabad.